We all know the Oklahoma City Thunder made a splash in this year's offseason, adding Isaiah Hartenstein to the squad on a 3-year deal worth around $88 million or so. I can't remember the exact number. It's large. It's huge. We know it's probably, I think it's the biggest signing for a free agent the Thunder have ever done, not trying to retain one of their players. But good news about that contract as well, since that we've talked about on the channel, is that final third year is a team option. So if we don't want him on the squad, or if it's going to hinder re-signing Chet and Dub, extending them on their rookie contracts, we can let go of him and focus on our two guys there. But there are some details that came out that kind of show how tough of a decision it was for Hartenstein to come to OKC. And we're going to break it down here, the article that I found talking about his time talking with Jalen Brunson about potentially going back to New York and what finally made the decision on why he's not going to stay with the Knicks and ultimately ended up on the Thunder. Before we get into all that, though, I just want to take a moment and say thank you guys to everyone that has so far subscribed to the channel here at Thunder Digest. Before we get into this, just want to take a moment and say that around 9% of you guys that are subscribed to the channel have the bell notification turned on. If you guys don't want to miss out on the latest Thunder Digest video here, I know sometimes some of the content you guys don't necessarily like or agree with. Try to cover everything as much as possible. So if you guys want to stay up to date with all that, go ahead, hit the bell notification. And with that out of the way, we can go ahead and get in the video and talk about this article that kind of shows and breaks down how tough of a decision it really was for Isaiah Hartenstein to leave the Knicks and come to Oklahoma City. And there are decisions that we kind of knew would play into effect. What would his playing time being like? What would his role be? Also, how much success would the Oklahoma City Thunder actually have? You knew they were going to be a championship team coming in here. Everyone knew that. And so those are definitely some decisions that played into it. But there were some more personal decisions that played a part into what led him to choosing Oklahoma City over the Knicks. We're going to go and break that down here. First piece of information that we have, Hartenstein told Stephen Bond of the New York Post that it was a hard decision to leave the Knicks. Hartenstein said beyond the Knicks front office, Jalen Brunson also tried to convince him to stay. They said, whatever we can give you, we're going to give you, Hartenstein said. I talked to Jalen a couple times, Jalen and the guys. They really wanted me back, and I really appreciate that. But it is definitely a hard decision. I couldn't say no to an opportunity like this, according to multiple reports. The Knicks offered Hartenstein the 4-year, $72 million deal, but expected that they would be outbid once Hartenstein hit free agency. So as you can see there, what it sounds like to me is that Presti and the gang here in Oklahoma City, that whole front office, offered Hartenstein a deal that was too good to say no to. It was like a Godfather type of thing going on with Presti and Hartenstein, where he's like, well, okay, they're going to offer you this. We're going to offer you $20 million more than what they can offer you. You can't say no to this and also come and compete on the squad that is going to be better than the Knicks as well. How do you say no? You couldn't. And Hartenstein saw that and he was like, okay, this offer is too good for me to turn down. There's also some other stuff that went into it, as we'll go ahead and break down the rest of the article here. Hartenstein, who has $22.6 million in career earnings to this point, is coming off a 2-year, $16 million contract with the Knicks, said he wasn't in position to turn down more money, as Brunson just did with the Knicks. As we know, Brunson took a pay cut just to stick with the Knicks. He's kind of in a different situation than I'm in, Hartenstein told Bondi. Already made $100 million in his career. He's the star player, knows he probably won't ever get traded, so it's a different situation, Hartenstein said. But that also shows what kind of a leader he is to make those sacrifices. I don't think a lot of people are making those sacrifices. I think our situations are a little bit different, but I have a lot of respect for him as a player and as a human being for doing that. So as he is saying there, I'm going to leave this up so you guys can kind of break it down with me. A big decision of what ended up choosing this and what ended up deciding it was the career earnings so far. As you can see here, Hartenstein's only made $22.6 million in his career earnings, whereas Brunson, who just took a pay cut, has around the same age. I don't think they're that too far off apart from each other. I don't think Brunson was drafted that too long ago. You guys go ahead, let me know in the comment section below when both players were drafted. But they're both young. Hartenstein's 26. I want to say Brunson's 24, 25. I think he's young as well, in that same age range as Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. That was a big decision. That he hasn't made a lot of money so far in his career. So what he decided to do, I'm going to go to OKC. I'm going to make all this money that is guaranteed to me now, close to $30 million for the each year, the next 2 years. So close to $60 million so far in his career, so far in those 2 years combined. He's making more than he has in his entire career just this season. That was a big decision for him. It was the money. We were able to offer him all this money just to come here. And also the enticement of it being a championship contending team out in the West. When you're a true contender out in the West with how stacked it is right now, you know you have good odds of winning it all if you make it to the finals. And Hartenstein realized that. And it was like, okay, there's just so many positives if I go to New York, whereas if I go to Oklahoma City, whereas if I stay in New York, there is no guarantee we make it to the finals. Sure, I can take this pay cut, be a starter on this team. We'd have a really good squad. But can we really compete with Philadelphia and Boston, some other teams that are loading up? Even though we're Orlando Magic, our team that is loading up right now, that could make a deep playoff run. That could eliminate New York if they ever met in the playoffs. So it's one of those things where Hartenstein realized that. He's like, okay, Oklahoma City not only gives me more money, but puts me in a position to actually win a ring, which is the end goal for every NBA player, to win the NBA championship. Hartenstein realized that I'm making more money. I'm going to compete. I can possibly also be a starter on this team as well. What's not to love about that? And the final piece of information that kind of to compete for a championship, so like I just said, and receive a bigger payday, made the Thunder's offer too compelling to turn down. It was hard for me. If it wasn't a situation like Oklahoma City with a chance to win, I don't think I would have left. But that money you have to think about it. I just had a child, but it was really hard. So he's just kind of talking about their short quote, breaking it down, how it was hard, but thinking about his personal life, thinking about his family as well, this situation not only puts him in a chance, position to win, but family-wise, it sets his family up pretty well with all the money he's going to be making, especially in a state like Oklahoma, where the cost of living is not all that high. It is a very good spot for Isaiah Hartenstein and his family, and it puts the Thunder in a very good spot with all of these external things coming together and showing how hard of a decision it really was for Hartenstein. Is just Oklahoma City, not just as the organization, not just as the team, but also as the city and state, played a role into what the decision Hartenstein made was. What he ended up deciding, you know what, my family's better off if we go to Oklahoma City and take all this money than if we stayed in New York and still, sure, we're going to compete for a championship appearance, but there's no guarantee we can actually win it all with how tough all these teams are. It was just one of those decisions where he is like, I think Oklahoma City just puts me in the best position career-wise and financially. And so as you can see there, it was a hard decision. I'm glad we threw the whole Trojan horse at him. I'm glad we threw the entire bank, who gave him this Godfather type of offer. I'm glad Presti in the front office decided to do that. Now, we still have a roster spot left open. There's no guarantee we fill it. We might use a two-way guy for that last spot. That might end up being what we do. But we still have our mid-level exception of $8 million to go get someone. That's the good thing about this contract it wasn't like $35 million per year like a lot of people thought the Oklahoma City Thunder might do, where we might end up overpaying him. A lot of people still think we overpaid him, but when you see how majority of his money he's going to receive at the front in the first year, and then the later parts of it's not going to be as much. It sets the Thunder up for some good success, and so we can still go get someone if we're looking for some more depth in case someone gets injured, because injuries do happen in this league. So the Thunder, this whole setup that the Hartenstein deal has, with how tough of a decision it was, the money, and what made it a leading Oklahoma City, also puts us in a good position if we want to go get someone else in free agency, because it kind of shows Hartenstein knew it was a hard decision to make. But with everything that, kind of led into decision with the organization, team, and state, with how it's set up, we could still go get another player in free agency. So that's what I'm interested in you guys telling me down in the comment section below. Let me know a guy that's still available in free agency that you would like to see the Thunder try to pick up just to add on to more depth in case we do get some guys that get injured. Let me know down in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.